Welcome to Silverstone and welcome to the GT3 Team Challenge here on World Sim Series. The bonus round, round 7 of the championship. We'll see the drivers fight it out for the championship title. On your screens, the beautiful circuit here at Silverstone. At the moment, championship leaders are the Beaver Grease Racing team ahead of the two Sean Clark Racing GT cars. Drink to Drive were still within a shot of winning the title, but not any more as none of their drivers have signed up for the race tonight. Here's the circuit on your screens. A beautiful venue here, built on an old airfield. Using the old pit layout, we are this time, as the GT World Challenge does in the real world, but still utilizing that super fast F1 turn 1 at Abbey. Just a very, very nice venue in general. As always, I'm joined by Lodilas.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final and the bonus round of the GT3 Team Challenge on the World Sim Series platform. And we're gonna have a race where the championship title will get decided, but we have only 9 teams joined the race. It's still the qualifying session, but as I'm looking at the screen right now, it looks like it started to rain, and Simonas Urbanas, he just managed to put in a lap time, which is more than enough to get that provisional pole position. And
it has started to rain.
Yeah.
Has started to rain, so I don't think there's going to be any improvements anymore. So Simonas Urbanas will be on pole position ahead of Gustas Malkauskas, and everybody should be heading back down onto pit road, unless they still see some kind of possibility to improve. But yeah, once it has started to rain, I don't really think that's an option. So Sean Clark Racing take pole position. They are sitting third in the championship. Their sister team, Sean Clark Racing GT, are second at the moment. But actually, Gustas Malakauskas is going back out on track.
Yeah, that's maybe just for some warm-up laps before the race. If it's gonna be a wet start, he'll have to, he'll be familiar with the conditions and the track itself. I'm not pretty sure how it's happening on the ACC platform, whether the weather gets transferred to the race or it's restarted. but at the very end of the qualifying session it started to rain, and nobody has the chance to go any faster, so the lap times that they have managed to put in are the final qualifying session lap times. It's still 2 minutes till the end of the session, but the track just got way slower, and only Gustas Malakauskas is currently on the track, and I think it's just to try out the track itself, try to decide how fast it is, and maybe get those hands and legs warmed up to work on the car, as it's gonna have a slippery surface. Gustas Malakauskas, he is driving for the IRT number 37 team, and the team is currently 25th in the championship standings, 28 total points, and only 2 rounds participated at. Yep, that's what I was talking about. Better do those slides in free time, where it doesn't count, to try and figure out what the track conditions actually are. I see there's another car on the racetrack. That's the Porsche of Justinas Gecevičius. He's currently 5th. But if it's gonna rain at the start of the race...
Ninth. He's not 5th.
Oh yeah, he's 9th. Sorry.
5 seconds off pole.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and I was looking at the gap on the timeline. That's why I said that he's 5th. Going a little bit slower. Doesn't like the conditions. Gustas Malakauskas back into the pit lane.
Maybe just seeing how wet it is with slick tires, and where that cutoff point will be once they get into the race.
Yep, so we need to wait it out now. 5 seconds, that's not gonna take long. The cars will be lined out on the grid. Gecevičius is still on the racetrack moving around, but he'll be dropped back to the pit lane shortly, as the starting gridding procedure will begin. And it's not raining during the race, so the drivers can calm themselves down, and we will try to run you through the grid quickly. Just need to set up the system correctly to have the results shown on screen.
All right, here we go. This is Simonas Urbanas on pole position, ahead of Gustas Malakauskas, Stevenas Katkus, and Stefano Skuma in 4th. Very mixed grid with Aston Martin, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari as your top 4. In 5th place, Alex Leaf in the Mercedes. 6th for Ubaldo Marini in the Ferrari.
Small grid, the cameraman doesn't need to rush.
He's not rushing tonight, but right, we'll take you through the rest of the grid order, as we've got Miguel Silverio in the Audi, only Audi on the grid, I believe. In 7th, 8th for Meri Tamash in the McLaren, and 9th for Justinas Gecevičius in Porsche. So qualifying session, important but not too important. With 9 cars on the grid tonight, it's not the end of the world if you're a bit further down the grid.
Yep, so engines are on, 1 full lap around the track behind the safety car to warm up the tires and form out the grid for the starting procedure. 9 cars, that's not gonna be too difficult. Everyone should be safe and sound. Looks like no one is going up for those huge weave-ups around the track to warm up the tires. Everyone's calm, relaxed, and ready for the final running of this season. It has been a 3 weeks break before the previous round and this one due to the Easter holidays. Now everyone's back and ready to fight it out on the final running to figure out who will get the crown of the GT3 Team Championship during this bonus round of the series.
The cars you have to watch out for, the number 1 of Stevenas Katkos, the number 3 of Alex Leaf, and the number 8 of Simonas Urbanas. These are your championship challengers.
A long lap around the around Silverstone, so the drivers will have quite a lot of time to prepare the car the way they need to, especially those brakes and tires. They are being worked on the most. Well, they should be worked on the most, but we don't see the cars weaving around as usual. Not sure if it's not needed or the drivers are just simply saving the tires. Gedzavich is in the background just doing those harsh left and right moves to bring up temperature into the fronts for the first corners of the racetrack. The tires will pick up temperature naturally as soon as the drivers will pick up the pace. Well, it is important for the start and the first corners to have as high temperature as the driver can put into the tires, but it looks like most of them are pretty confident what they are driving now, and I think they feel that it's more than enough of the temperature that it is now.
I mean, it's hard to get a lot of temperature into the tires when you're still doing warm-up laps, so the best way is to get racing, and they can kind of control the pace on the formation lap. They don't have a slow-moving safety car in front of them, so I'm sure that the drivers will be eager to go and get their race underway here tonight at Silverstone. It's again round 7, the bonus round here in the GT3 Team Championship. Sean Clark Racing versus Beaver Grease Racing versus Sean Clark Racing GT. And everybody else trying to improve their positions in the standings as well. We've had 6 rounds and only 6 will count towards the championship. So even if you have a horrible round here, you can have everything else. You can have this one dropped and you'll keep the points that you had before.
Yep, and the best current position belongs to Beaver Grease Racing, and Sionas Katkos is behind the wheel of the car this afternoon, this evening. Just putting in some statistics on the screen for my colleague to understand.
And we're off. Here we go. Gustas Malakauskas I'm sure that's a jump start. No way. I think he was way in front at the timing line there. But Gustas Malakauskas takes the lead ahead of Simonas Urbanas and Stevenas Katkos trying to make a move there. Looking from the back of Gustas Malakauskas as they come through Maggots and Beckett's here. And into the right as they're going to come out onto the hangar straight for the first time in the race. Stevenas Katkos in the AMG. He's going to try and get forward and get positions he needs to overtake the guy, at least one driver in front of him being Simonas Urbanas. And as they come side by side, well, almost side by side in to the right, now coming into the chicane here. Always a choke point around the track. To the inside goes Stevenas Katkos because he sees an opportunity. Simonas Urbanas going off wide, and now through the right they're gonna come the line astern, and this is giving Gustas Malakauskas a chance to run away, but I'm sure that was a jump start.
We'll figure this out by the end of this lap. If it has been a jump start, he will have to drive through the pit lane at the least, but now he's currently leading the race. Stevenas Katkos, well, he tried his best to go around Simonas Urbanas because he knows that he needs to finish in front of Simonas to better the chances of his team in the overall standings. That didn't work out. He's now being the defensive. No, he's currently third. That's Alex Leaf and Stefano Schumacher battling it out on the racetrack. So 2 Mercedes for the race of this afternoon. It looks like that the brand is fitting nicely this pretty fast track located in Great Britain. Mercs are known for a very powerful engine, and they have plenty of straight line speed, so maybe they are a very nice choice for the race of this afternoon. Alex Leaf running a little bit wide. That was the corpse corner, and into Maggots through Beckett's onto the hangar straight. Yeah, I thought for a very short moment that I have lost myself on the racetrack, but it looks like I haven't lost me. And, well, almost completing the first lap, where Gustas Malakauskas is currently in the lead. Now the biggest question is, did he really have a jump start?
Well, at least the info that we're getting now is that he didn't, but I've had a look back at the replay, and that was, at least for my eyes, that was definitely a jump start. If he got away with it from the ACC system, well, I guess good for him, but yeah, that didn't, I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe Urbanos was going slightly slower than 70 km/h, but it looks like Gustas Malakauskas did not do a jump start, so he's currently legally in the lead, and Simonas Urbanos will have to figure out it on himself. Maybe during the first lap he just was a little bit more calmer because he thought that Gustas Malakauskas might get a jump start. Now, as he sees Gustas Malakauskas still staying in front, he should, well, at least try to get a little bit closer on the back end of Gustas Malakauskas' car, the McLaren 720S, and, well, at least put him a little bit more of pressure. This is a 1-hour race with 1 mandatory pit stop. The pit window opens starting from the 20th minute, so it's nowhere to rush for Simonas Urbanos. Malakauskas currently has enough of pace to pull away from the 3rd place Stevenas Katkus. That should give a little bit of confidence for Simonas Urbanos to maybe save his tires, not rush too much, and wait for those pit stops to take place. That's where he might see the biggest opportunity to overtake Gustas for the lead of this race. I'm pretty sure Simonas Urbanos joined the bonus and the final round thinking only about the victory. He managed to dominate the qualifying session, though it didn't happen early into the session. He was always trying to put a fast lap, but it didn't work out almost up until the very end before the rain came. But he still managed to put in that fastest lap time in the quali session, and now he's just driven the fastest lap time of this race, though only 2/10 faster than Gustas Malakauskas. Oh, it's already side by side as I was looking into the results. Simonas Urbanos turning on the attack mode, but Gustas Malakauskas, he knows that his rival is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack in this championship. He, well, defended quite nicely.
Well, he'd have to be very, very optimistic to think that he'll hold on for the next 54 minutes, but he can try. Or at least try to get Stevenas Katkus involved in that battle, and hope for more battling between Katkus and Urbanas rather than getting attacked by Urbanas himself. So Gustas Malakauskas still trying to hold on to the lead. That gap now back up to about half a second. So through the quicker parts of the track, when Simonas Urbanos tries to follow, he does struggle obviously in the wake, and the McLaren looks actually pretty strong in terms of cornering ability in those middle to high speed turns. We'll see if Gustas Malakauskas can run away here as they are going to come on to the hangar straight. Another overtaking opportunity for Simonas Urbanos, who's fighting for the championship here tonight, as they come onto the back straight. Onto the hangar straight. Well, Actually, in this layout, the back straight would kind of be the F1 pit straight. We'll see if he can make a move into here, into the braking zone of the chicane, but not enough just now. But look at how much he gains on the brakes, so much more confident as they come into the braking zone. Maybe not as quick on the exits, but definitely putting a lot of pressure when braking so late. Gustav Malakauskas seeing that Aston Martin get bigger and bigger and bigger in his mirrors, so he knows he's getting closer. And obviously getting more and more nervous. Again, look at how much Simonas Urbonas gains through the braking zones. That has to be difficult for Gustav Malakauskas. Maybe he's got the mirrors turned off now, just to not see that car approaching. As they're gonna tick off another lap in just a moment's time. Again, look at how much he gains under braking. Doesn't have the perfect exit, but the gains under braking, they're massive.
Yep, so Simonas Urbonas is well-known driver to have the ability to brake as late as possible, and this is the comparison of this previous lap. And Simonas Urbonas, he was 2/10 faster than Gustav Malakauskas in front, but the biggest question is how fast can Simonas go around the Silverstone racetrack, as he would be released from chasing down Gustav Malakauskas down the straights.
They come out of Chapel once again on to the Hangar Straight for lap 4 of this race. 51 minutes to go. See if Simonas Urbonas can do anything here through Stowe and coming down in to the club. Difficult to get right and get your bearings, get your braking points right, especially here into that chicane. And as you come on to the F1 start-finish straight and through the right at Abbey, this is one of the quickest corners around this place, and it's so demanding on the drivers and on the cars, because then from the right you go right to the left-hander and then brake for the village section. It is a very demanding circuit on the drivers, enjoyed by a lot of them as well. A little bit of a wiggle there coming out on to the Wellington Straight, but doing a good job is Simonas Urbonas, and actually a very impressive job by Gustav Malakauskas, who continues to lead this race for maybe a bit longer than Simonas Urbonas would have wanted, and looks like Simonas Urbonas actually starting to make mistakes. So maybe his late braking antics have overheated his tires a little bit.
Yep, he needs to find a new strategy from this point in the race. He had the pole position. Looks like he was the driver who was slightly later on the start reaction. That's why Gustav Malakauskas took that lead. But right now, Simonas Urbonas, it seems that he has a little bit more pace, because as soon as he drops behind Gustav Malakauskas a little bit more than half a second, he's still able to gain on him shortly. But you can sit on the back end of your rival's car, but an overtake, it's a different question, because the pace of these two cars, even though Simonas is slightly faster, it's still very much identical, and it's really hard to master in a successful overtake. So I think that Simonas Urbonas will try to stick on the tail of Gustav Malakauskas, and will be hoping for some mistakes of Gustav's to try and make that move. Otherwise, he'll have to sit out till the balance of the car changes, or wait out for the pit window to open, and maybe go for an alternative strategy by pitting earlier than your rival, or maybe later if your rival goes into the pit lane sooner than you would want to. 1.1 seconds, so well, he's definitely struggling. He's in the dirty ear, so he doesn't have as much front grip as he would like to, and those, well, definitely late braking zones, they also don't help on the front tires, and that might damage them a little bit, which might make the race of Simonas Urbonas slightly difficult towards the end of the first stint. They have to change the tires in the pit lane. That's a mandatory task in this championship, so they don't need to save them. They can abuse them as much as they want to, but it also reflects on the timings of the drivers. So if you abuse them too much, you drop time, and that's where you can lose the race. So Simonas Urbanas has to be really smart on his actions, maybe even try to let Gustas Malakauskas a little bit further away to be in a slightly cleaner air to save those tires, and think through the strategy and think through the actions that he can take off to overtake Gustas Malakauskas and use out the pace advantage, which seems to be not that big, or not big enough to make that move count.
He's also he doesn't have to overtake Malkauskas. If you're looking at the championship bigger picture, there's no real need for him to overtake Gustas Malkauskas because they're not fighting for the championship, those two. So I'm sure there's a calculation there in terms of if it would be enough points. But directly, they're not fighting for the championship, so maybe he won't be as aggressive. But I'm sure he wants to get the lead back because he was quite dominant in qualifying, and yeah, we expect him to kind of overtake, and he expects to overtake as well. So I think getting frustrated right now is Simonas Urbanas.
I'm pretty sure he wants that maximum. The final round, he won the pole position. He wants that first place to get the biggest amount of points for the championship. He's currently, well, his team is currently in third position after 6 completed rounds. There's one drop round, so these are not the final standings, and it's not that easy calculated with that drop round because you never know which round was the worst for the drivers. Still, you want to dominate, or well, you want to do your best in the final round, especially when it's the game for the championship. Simonas Urbanas missed out a couple of rounds already, so I think he's currently third. Looking into the teams. Oh, Gustas Malkauskas, he just made a mistake. He went a little bit too deep, lost the backhand. Simonas Urbanas was a little bit too far behind to try and make something out of it, but he's close.
So Simonas Urbanas is close. Even if he does overtake, actually, it wouldn't be enough to win that. Oh, Simonas Urbanas goes off wide himself and actually loses a lot more time. For Simonas Urbanas, it wouldn't be enough if even if he won. It's actually impossible for Simonas Urbanas to win the championship. So, because we don't have enough drivers tonight, and if the Sean Clark GT car of Alex Leaf would want to win, he would have to win the race with the Beaver Grease car in 7th. So difficult situation here for the chasing pack.
Mary Thomas just had a moment. He's off the racetrack. In Luffield corner it is. I think that happened in Brooklands. We will try to get a replay of this one to try and see what happened with Mary Tamar. He dropped down to P8 and he lost it on his own. So it looks like the driver just tried to find...
Nice spin.
Yeah, it was a nice 360. It looks like the driver tried to find a little bit more pace in his lap times. That's where you usually try and brake a little bit later, and then you figure out that it was already too late, and no more grip for the back end. It stepped out, made a beautiful 360 back on the racetrack, and he's currently 8th. So, well, the drivers who are further down the grid, they can allow a little bit risk for themselves, because there are not a lot of cars around them to lose the positions to. So this is a nice race for some practice for the drivers. You have a very nice comparison of the pace between yourself and the rivals, and if you see that you lack a little bit of it because you are on identical conditions, started on the same lap on the same fresh of tires, the setups might be different, but the track conditions are the same, so you know quite exactly.
That looked like a slide
It was.
from Gustas Malakauskas.
It actually was a slide,
Yeah.
but that was a nice catch. So he's pushing. That's the biggest sign for you. That means that Gustas Malakauskas feels the threat from behind, and Simonas Urbonas, even though he made that bigger mistake, he's still there, and Gustas Malakauskas, he also wants that win, and he doesn't want to relax. So sometimes he forces the car into some small slides, which are controlled, and they are nice until they are under control. But as soon as you slide a little bit too much with these GT3 cars, high aerodynamical cars with big slicks, they don't have a lot of space to slide on, and you can have a snap like Mary Tamas just had. It looks like he just lost 2/10 to Simonas Urbonas with that small
Gustas
slide.
Malakauskas, not Mary Tamas.
No, I was talking about the spin. Yep.
Yeah.
So it might end up as it did end for Mary Thomas. If you let the car slide a little bit too much, that's when it can snap. Stevenas Katkus, he's building out a gap between himself and Alex Leaf. It was a little bit tighter between the two drivers. It's now up to 2.4 seconds. And that's going to be a nice practice session, if you can call it like so. Couple of cars, they are pushing to the maximum, trying to figure out where to go faster and what to learn, what to take from this championship. If they are not fighting for the win of it, they definitely try to learn something new to be better and stronger for the upcoming championships. By the way, 25 seconds till the pit window will be opened. That's when we might see some strategy from the drivers, some different strategy, and Simonas Urbanas might figure out something in this situation. He's going to be 1.1 seconds behind, and as soon as he got a little bit further behind from Gustas Malakauskas after that mistake that Simonas made, well, it doesn't seem that Simonas Urbanas has that much of pace. The previous lap time, well, it was faster by Simonas Urbanas.
Kind of stuck. This is one of those tracks where if you're behind someone, it's very, very difficult to overtake. So many fast turns where the aero wash, it really gives you a lot of issues, and I think that's why he's kind of struggling to make any moves here.
And as
yeah, big struggle for him to get close, and I think once he actually makes the move, or if he actually makes the move, I think then we'll see a much different pace from him as well, because you're heating up the fronts when you're sitting behind someone, so it kind of, the longer you sit behind someone, the more you kind of slow down.
Yeah, it usually makes no sense to stop early in the race. Looks like the fastest strategy is to stop at the very end of the pit window. So that means not further than 40 minutes into the race due to the regulations. But if Simonas Urbanas goes to the pit lane now, he would get a clear track ahead of him, and he might use that pace advantage. So it's interesting for me to wait it out and see what mind games is Simonas Urbanas currently under, or he just simply he wishes just simply to make that move on the racetrack by himself, because, well, he has the strength, he has the advantage, so that makes him slightly stronger competitor out of these two in this battle, and he can carry a little bit more confidence around the corners and into the braking zones, as he's following Gustas Malakauskas, though, as Gustas mentioned, it's a little bit harder to be the follower due to the aerodynamical specifications of these vehicles. You lose the front end grip, and it's not the ideal conditions.
Yep, not ideal conditions. Well, not ideal tire temps. That's, I guess, the biggest issue that the teams may run into. Teams and drivers. But Simonas Urbanas continues to push. I guess that's his best solution. Just keep the pressure on and try to see what can happen as he's putting pressure on Gustas Malakauskas. Maybe Gustas Malakauskas will make a mistake. It's not likely, as he's kind of been smart tonight, but yeah, we'll see if anything changes here.
Well, Gustas Malakauskas should be already confident in his position. It has been the situation for the past 23 minutes. So he's really familiar with the driving of Simonas Urbanas, and I'm pretty sure he's more focused at what's happening in front than behind, because he already can feel the pace of Simonas, unless Simonas tries out something new and releases a little bit more power. Maybe those late braking zones, they might distract Gustas Malakauskas a little bit more. But yeah, he's definitely confident already about the race situation right now. And not seeing Simonas Urbanas going into the pit lane yet, looks like he's not thinking about a different strategy at all. He just wants to battle it out on the racetrack, maybe leaving it that all for the final part of this race. And now he's just being patient and waiting out, sitting there and hoping for a mistake by Gustas Malakauskas, which doesn't seem to happen, but it's still a race, and the drivers, they can make mistakes if they go a little bit too far, too fast, because Gustas Malakauskas needs to stay on the limit every moment around every corner. And that's what Simonas Urbanas just hopes for. The tiniest mistake, it might help. Though we have seen Gustas Malakauskas making mistakes, and that didn't help out Simonas Urbanas.
Because Simonas Urbanas made bigger mistakes right after.
Yeah, so he did make a bigger mistake. So maybe he was excited a little bit too soon. There goes the mistake by Gustas Malakauskas, and this is the best chance for Simonas Urbanas so far. He was forced to choose the outside line.
He's going to try the outside here. He can get a dive down the inside, but no. Gustas Malakauskas covers that one off. Pit window open, by the way, for everyone. Chance for Simonas Urbanas? Pit now?
Yeah, I was talking about it, but we don't see Simonas Urbanas going into the pit lane. Look how brave.
He's super late on the brakes. Why? He has to pit now. He has to go in. There's no other choice. Nope, stays out. One more lap. I don't understand why you would stay out for another lap. If he's clearly stuck, right? Because he can get close, but he cannot overtake, because that's the aero wash. This is exactly what I was talking about. That's the aero wash. You get close to someone, and well, you can't turn anymore. So why keep waiting? Why not just put on a fresh set of tires? Maybe he'll have to hold on at the very end of the race, but if he's actually quicker, he'll probably get a gap that's good enough for him to hold on for the rest of the race. It's also half an hour to go, right? So you've done half the race, just half to go.
Yep, I don't see why Simonas Urbanas is not going into the pit lane, and he has a very good chance for the undercut because they get the fresher tires, which should theoretically make the cars faster on the outlaps and the first flying laps. So that's where he could build out the gap, not only gain the position but build out the gap. And that should be more than enough for him for the remaining of the race. And Steven Askatkos is also, well, he's not too far away. Gustas Malakauskas again a little bit too wide on the very same spot. And
But
he,
now
yeah,
Simonas Urbanas finally gets the inside, but the deal's not done because Gustas Malakauskas is still on the inside there, and I think Simonas Urbanas way off wide. Super wide, and actually loses more time. Incredible battling between these two. Maybe Simonas Urbanas has now realized that he has to come down pit road. Because if they keep on fighting, they've got Steven Askatkos and Alex Leaf, who would very like to join this battle of two and make it a battle of three or a battle of four.
Nice driving by Gustas Malakauskas.
Come down to actually Gustas Malakauskas comes down to pit road.
Okay, that's something new. Maybe that's what was Simonas Urbanas waiting for. Maybe he feels that he's faster, and maybe that's what he has in his mind. He waited out for Gustas Malakauskas to go into the pit lane. He will try to put in a couple of very fast laps now, and then come into the pit lane to get out of it with fresher tires, with newer tires than the ones on the Gustas Malakauskas car. That's how he might get the advantage against Gustas if he needs to later into the race. We have to wait it out and see the strategy of Simonas Urbanas. He's definitely got one. He is not new to racing. He knows the best way around tracks. He knows his pace, and well, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing and not playing any magic games here. But still, that's a little bit interesting for me to see that the driver who's being ahead going into the pit lane earlier than your rival, though.
Interesting that he took the initiative on this. That's not something you normally do, but let's see what happens now. Simonas Urbanas, I guess that kind of forces Simonas Urbanas to keep on going until the end of the stint.
Yep, that's what you have to do now. Well, at least 2 or 3 laps you have to put in on these tires. It's going to be interesting to see the pace of the drivers.
Well, then if I'm him, I'm staying out until the very, very end of the pit window.
Yep.
Because then I'll have a big advantage in terms of tires. Because I'm not gonna overcut anyone. Because now Gustas Malakauskas on fresh rubber, he's gonna be much, much quicker. So no, Simonas Urbanas down into pit.
We were never right about the strategy of the drivers, and look, Steven
actually,
Askatkos and Alex Leaf.
And Alex Leaf as well, in at the same time.
No drama. Yeah, you know,
variation of strategy. Everybody wants to do the exact same thing.
The guys have to call the Ferrari strategist. I'm pretty sure about it. We need more action in these races. We need a little bit more different strategies from the drivers to make our guesswork even higher. We always tend to...
Let's see actually if Gustas Malakauskas can get back out in front into the lead. He's coming through at the end of the lap. So we'll see if Simonas Urbanas or Gustas Malakauskas will be out in front.
Well, it's going to depend on the length of his pit stop and how good he was on the outlap, but it looks like...
I think the...
It's going to be
I
close,
think
but...
Malakauskas will be in front still.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, he's in front.
Actually,
And actually...
quite a lot.
Yep. That's quite a lot. So...
Suspiciously a lot.
Let me look at the digits. So... the drive through the pit lane time was 26.9 seconds, and the stationary time was 32.0 by Gustas Malakauskas. Simonas Urbanas 27.7 through the pit lane, so he lost 8 tenths there, and he was stationary for 32.3 seconds. So he lost 1 second in the pit lane. But on the racetrack, he is 7 seconds behind Gustas Malakauskas.
Well, he didn't have a 7-second slower in lap. That I can be sure of. I mean,
Yep.
we were watching him. We didn't see anything strange. And he gained on everyone, by the way. So, because Stevenas Katkus didn't really lose time compared to Simonas Urbanas. So what did Gustas Malakauskas do to gain 7 seconds on 8 seconds on track? Gets Avicius off the road? Definitely off the road somewhere, and I think Simonas Urbanas was trying to overtake him, so if we can maybe find a replay of that and see what happened there. So Simonas Urbanas right behind. You just saw Gustas Malakauskas pass the screen. Replay down into Abby. What happens here? What does Simonas Urbanas do? Oh, removed from the track. Yep. I'm sure the stewards will not be too nice about that one, because Simonas Urbanas just removed him from the track, I call it. Just bulldozed him out mid-corner.
Yep, this is the replay from
the onboard, and he just bulldozes his way out. So, yeah. Don't want to say too much, but I don't think that was super clean.
Simonas Urbanas also lost out to Stevenas Katkus, because Stevenas is now 1.5 seconds.
What happens when you hit someone normally?
Yeah.
You lose time.
But it's still
And he's
wonders
going to
me,
have some damage, probably.
how did Gustas Malakauskas be so fast out of the pit lane? Where did those 8, now 9 seconds come from? That's a big headache for me, because, well, that's definitely not the pit lane time. Well, it was 1 second slower for Simonas Urbanas in total in the pit lane with the stationary time, but it was definitely not more.
Simonas Urbanas gets a 5-second penalty for that. Pretty fair, as that's pretty much what Justinas Gedzau just lost in that little incident, so...
So yeah, that's already 14 seconds behind Gustas Malakauskas, and that's actually, at this moment being, it promotes Stevenas Katkus ahead of Simonas Urbanas, and he was 2.5 seconds behind Simonas before the pit stops, so it's still doable for Stevenas Katkus. He just needs to hold on, and he was actually
up right now. So there's not much holding on, because he's been on a charge recently. He's dropped Alex Leaf. He's lost a bit of time, and he's catching up to Simonas Urbanas. At least has caught up during the last, well, during this lap. Gap down to 1.3. Before the stop, it was about 3 seconds. So gap coming down. And yep, clearly this lap quicker for Stevenas Katkus. About 0.2 of a second, but every little bit helps.
That's more than enough. Stevenas Katkus needs to stay within 5 seconds of Simonas Urbanas before they cross the finish line. So 0.2 faster on every lap, that still helps, and he would not lose out, he would gain on Simonas Urbanas. So that's what he needs to concentrate on to now, and drive his best qualifying session in this final race of the championship. That way he will finish in front of Simonas Urbanas. Gustas Malakauskas, by the way, he's still 9 seconds ahead of Simonas, and looks like that's the job done, and Gustas Malakauskas can relax himself already and try to avoid those small mistakes. Just cruise to the finish line. 24 minutes to go, so not that much, a little bit less than half of a race. What brings that for the championship? If Simonas Urbanas finishes third behind Stevenas Katkus, the driver from Beaver Grease Racing Team, who is currently in the lead of the championship, but I'm pretty sure that's because Simonas Urbanas was absent in the final round, and one round drops out of the standings, so it's really difficult to calculate as these rules in the championship with a drop round.
No, but it's still fine with the amount of points they have for Stevenas Katkus. It would still be a win for Beaver Grease Racing, even if he does lose that position.
Would that be a win for Beaver Grease Racing?
Yes, win for Beaver Grease.
If Simonas Urbanas finishes third and Stevenas Katkus finishes second.
Even if Simonas Urbanas finishes second, or even if Simonas Urbanas wins, because Simonas Urbanas cannot gain enough points. It's not possible because we have 9 drivers on track. So Stevenas Katkus would have to finish down in 13th, I believe, to lose the championship tonight. And with 9 cars on track, that's difficult to do.
Yep, so that means that it's basically a battle on the racetrack to just get that acknowledgement who can be faster on the racetrack, not only
because
to get the championship.
For the other car, for Alex Leaf's car, they'd have to win the race, and they'd have to have Stevenas Katkus finish 7th or lower to win the championship here tonight. So difficult task as well.
Well, the least you can do is stay on the track, be the best version of yourself, make no mistakes, have a beautiful race, and enjoy the results, because, well, it's still a podium position. Even between 9 drivers, it's still a better result to finish on the podium rather than finishing 9th. That means you still got the pace, and your championship counts. Stevenas Katkus being compared to Stevenas Katkus. It looks like Simonas Urbanas, he just found that pace, calmed himself down, tries to shave off a couple of tenths from the lead of Gustas Malakauskas, but with 22 minutes to go, not a lot. Things can change in this race unless it starts to rain, as it happened in the qualifying session, but it doesn't look so. Sky's clear. It looks like we're on a different day than we were in the qualifying session.
Yep, doesn't look like we'll have any rain here tonight. Maybe good for some, bad for others. But everybody playing on the same track, so everybody's on the same field, and yeah, equal conditions for everyone. That's, I guess, the important part. So Stevenas Katkus losing a bit of time. 20 minutes to go. I guess he wants to have second, just to have second. Be nice. But,
yep, but he's losing out a little bit too much to Simonas Urbanas. The gap is already 2.9 seconds. It was 2 seconds just 1 lap ago. Did he lose that much on the previous lap time? Well, he lost 5 tenths on the... What lap are we on? We are currently on lap 20. So he lost 5 tenths on the 19th lap. And... well, he is slowly dropping into the danger zone. By the way, the drivers do not know the penalties that the rivals or themselves have received. Simonas Urbanas might have some thought about it. He knows that he pushed the driver off track, so he knows he's at risk of receiving a penalty, but he's definitely not sure about it. And well, in most cases, all the drivers have an opinion about what happens on the racetrack, and for my point of view, in that accident, well, that's definitely the blame goes to Simonas Urbanas, but it looks like Gizavicius was a little bit slower than Simonas Urbanas could have expected. And, well, he just didn't expect the driver to be slow in that part of the track. especially when you haven't sit behind a slower driver before, and it happened after they made that pit stop, so it caught Simonas Urbanas a little bit by surprise. So he has his opinion about it, and he definitely doesn't know, but he can imagine about that he has a penalty, but no other driver knows that. And especially Steven Askatkos, who's again dropping seconds, and he was off the racetrack in this lap because it's being shown as invalidated. So is the lap time of Alex Leaf, but the gap is already up to 3.7 seconds. And if Steven Askatkos won't get into the rhythm, he'll gonna drop out of the 5-second zone, and the penalty that Simonas Urbanas received will not matter that much if he'll be unable to gain on Gustas Malakauskas in the battle for P1, because Simonas Urbanas is constantly gaining. He just set the fastest lap time of this race so far, and by a big margin. He was 6/10 faster than Gustas Malakauskas in front, 1 minute 57.5, so he'll definitely will be looking into the replays and trying to figure out why on earth he lost that much time in the battle for the lead with Gustas Malakauskas. That's a question and answer for both of us, me, myself, and Gustas, because, well, it looks like it came out of nowhere. You can understand 1 or 2 seconds difference, but not 8 seconds.
I think it could have been maybe not enough time spent in the pits.
Well, the pit times are, as mentioned, I see them on my screen, so
maybe they're wrong. That's what I'm saying. Maybe
maybe
something's wrong in that calculation, because it doesn't make any sense any other way.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a possibility for the timing screens to show false information, though I wouldn't count on that too much. I don't see... yeah, I don't have the ability to see all the previous lap times of the drivers. That would make the comparison a little bit easier, but I don't have a tool to look at it. So it's only guesswork, but that's definitely something for Simonas Urbanas to figure out after the race. 16 minutes till the finish line, 6.4 seconds. Simonas Urbanas, well, he's gaining again 57.6 versus 58.4. There's the comparison on the right side of on the bottom of your screens. Simonas Urbanas was fastest in the second and the third sector.
Yep, but again, Gustas Malakauskas doesn't need to worry because Simonas Urbanas has that penalty, and also there's still a quite big gap for them to catch up.
Yep, 4.8 between Simonas and Stevenas, so that's also basically game over in the battle for P2. Even though it's not happening on the racetrack, but Simonas Urbanas, he has that penalty. But as mentioned before, the drivers don't know that unless someone tells them that. If they have teammates or spotters working, maybe looking or hearing the broadcast, they can give the information to the drivers. Otherwise, they don't know that. And well,
Yep.
that might change the rhythm of the race. Maybe while he's just thinking about his current position, he sees that Simonas Urbanas is slightly faster and he's not giving it all. If he knew that information, maybe that would change the pace of his race.
I think also that actually Simonas Urbanas was this quick previously. He was just stuck behind, and that was his main issue.
Yeah, he was patiently waiting it out. I still don't get it. Why?
I wouldn't call it patient. That's one thing. I really wouldn't call it patient. It was more that he was trying to make a move, but couldn't make a move, and then yeah, I think strategy-wise, they definitely made a mistake there. And actually, that sent Simonas Urbanas out in the traffic as well, so... And that's why he had the contact, because he was sent out into traffic and lost time there.
Yeah, still a mystery remains where that big gap came from. And Simonas Urbanas, he tries. He's pushing. He tries to gain on Gustas Malakauskas. That also puts a little bit of pressure onto the shoulders of the current race leader. Seeing that you're not the fastest car on track, though looking at the time remaining on the screens, it's not that much, so that's not too big of a pressure. But that's the only chance for Simonas Urbanas remaining in this race, because, well, on pure pace, even though he's faster, I don't see a chance for him to gain on Gustas unless Gustas makes a mistake. So Simonas Urbanas needs to be faster, needs to try and put that pressure on the shoulders of the current leader and hope for a mistake, which might happen. This is racing. Sometimes you come a little bit too hot-headed into one of the corners, come too deep, and that might send the car spinning, which would be more than enough for Simonas Urbanas to take that position. But as Gustas Grimbergas already calculated, it would still not be enough in the battle for the win of this championship, which was led by Simonas Urbanas for the most part.
Yep, but he had to miss a few rounds, and that's where he kind of...
Well, he actually missed one round. He missed the previous round. He didn't attend the third round, if my memory is correct. Well, one of the first rounds. He didn't attend them by himself, but his team was driving. Remember, this is a team championship, so you can share your car with your teammates. In one race, actually, you can make driver changes in the pit lane, but no one is choosing to do that because that's only a 1 hour race, and, well, there's no need to do that. But the car is being shared between the drivers between the different races. And Stevanas Katkus, he's driving for the Beaver Grease Racing team, and he was driving for a different team, I believe, before this race.
Yeah, Beaver Grease definitely had quite a few drivers in running in the races. Quite a few different drivers ran, and yeah, that's how things changed for them, I guess. Drivers changed around, and results sometimes change around, but they came in with the lead of the championship coming into this round, so that's how they've ended up in the lead, unless we're missing something with the drop points. And then
I think there's something missing with the drop points. Well, it's really hard to tell looking at the table that we have on the web page, because there's a little bit too much of information that shouldn't be there, and that makes my head spin a little bit around. But if I get that correctly, so that means we had 6 rounds in total. Beaver Grease
7.
and Sean Clark Racing, they have started in all of the rounds, but Sean Clark Racing with Simonas Urbanas, they have started only in 5 rounds. So the points that Simonas Urbanas collects in this race, they will fully go towards the overall standings, and the points that Beaver Grease and Sean Clark Racing GT teams will collect in this race, they might not go into the overall standings, because that might not be the best results of the teams.
I think that's a good opportunity for everyone to come visit the World Sim Series page, and a bit after the race, maybe tomorrow, once the results are confirmed, to see what the actual positions are.
Yeah, so there's not going to be a lot of work for race control, definitely this afternoon. We've seen only a couple of accidents so far. Actually, my screen shows only that one single accident between Simonas Urbanas and Justinas Gedzavicius, which has already been solved out, with Simonas Urbanas receiving a 5 seconds penalty. And that's about it of the accidents in this race. So there shouldn't be a long delay between the provisional results and the final results. And that's where we might see the overall standings completed. That's Ubaldo Marini going slightly off the racetrack. This is a replay that of a moment that happened a couple of minutes ago. Back on the racetrack, not a lot of damage. Back to the battle for the lead, 57.7 versus 58.7. So almost 1 second shaved off, and well, the gap is already 4.3 seconds. Maybe that's working out for Simonas Urbonas. Stay on the pace, keep pushing for Gustas Malakauskas.
That Gustas Malakauskas didn't change tires. Even though we don't see... I think there's a mistake in the timing screen, and that's why the pit stop. It looked long, but it was actually shorter. That's why he gained the time, and now is losing time because he didn't change tires. Could that be the case?
That's a possibility. That's always a possibility. We don't have the information, so this is a good guesswork happening live. Well, if he didn't change the tires, that's a rule infringement because it's mandatory to change the tires. So that's already a big failure for Gustas Malakauskas in that department. He might be disqualified after the race if he's on old tires. And so is his pace of this race because it's dropping dramatically. Looking and comparing the times between Simonas Urbonas and Gustas Malakauskas, wow. That's a huge difference. There's another lap where Simonas Urbonas is almost 1 second faster than Gustas Malakauskas, and suddenly, well, look, the race is becoming alive again because the gap is dropping. 3.7 seconds. It was 8.8 seconds at one point just after Simonas Urbonas made that incident. And even though, well, of course, even if Simonas Urbonas would be able to overtake Gustas Malakauskas on the racetrack, he would still lose the position. But the drivers don't know that. So they're racing.
Be fighting for the win hard.
If that's gonna happen, because it's, well, 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, so only a couple laps on the table. So even if even though Simonas Urbonas is shaving off 1 full seconds of the lead, that's still a little bit too less. It's not enough. I mean, to try and gain on Gustas Malakauskas. Not talking about a move happening, and Simonas Urbonas is on older tires. If, well, theoretically on older tires. If Gustas Malakauskas, if Gustas,
older tire.
Well, Gustas Malakauskas.
Older
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, Gustas was the driver who went into the pit lane earlier, but that's only a difference of 1 lap, so that shouldn't be a huge part there. Yep, they are simply having fun, actually. This is why what they are coming for. To have a good race, and even though they don't have a big competition, 9 cars on the racetrack, they still want to get the maximum out of it. Look at the gap between Simonas Urbonas and Stevenas Katkus. Stevenas Katkus, he had made a mistake, 11.2 seconds, though he's still 4 seconds in front of Alex Leaf.
Yep, he's still in front of Alex Leaf. He's cruising to the end. Not much he can do. He can't really catch up. Simonas Urbonas has been incredibly quick in the second stint of the race. So just a chance to cruise to the end, collect the points, and we think take the championship.
On board with Gustas Malakauskas, and you can see Simonas Urbonas in the background. So far, Simonas Urbanas is doing a phenomenal job after the pit stop and, well, after that small incident that he had. So far, he's driving. He's driving quite nicely, avoiding mistakes and still keeping the highest pace on the grid. But that
And
might
will be
change.
2 to go when he crosses the line now.
There's gonna be 2 to go.
Yep.
Okay, so 2 to go. The gap is 3 seconds. Simonas Urbanas needs at least 2 seconds per one lap to.
1.5.
Well, that should be 2 seconds per one lap to create a scenario for an overtake, because you still have to overtake. Remember, he was sitting behind Gustas Malakauskas for the first part of the race and couldn't make that move done. He's on fresher tires now.
Well, we don't know if he's on fresher tires.
Well, at least one lap fresher tires.
Well,
I mean.
yeah, I don't think that one lap makes that big of a difference.
Still, well, for the driver, it might do a difference.
That's a good excuse, though,
Yeah.
to find after the race.
Yeah, Gustas Malakauskas could definitely say, we're on newer tires, that's why you overtook me. And that would be the truth about the age of the tires. Anyways, 2.4 seconds, 1.5 laps to go. Is there a possibility for a nice battle? Remember, it's not that easy to follow up a car too close, because you lose that front end grip due to the turbulent air. These are still aerodynamical efficient cars, and they need that grip from that aero, so that creates different and a little bit more difficult tasks for the drivers as soon as they find themselves right on the tail of their rivals. But it's not enough, I think. That's still too far. 2.4 seconds. Gustas Malakauskas, well, it looks like he's putting the maximum into the car and doing what he needs to do to stay in front of Simonas Urbanas, because, well, it's gonna be 2.1 seconds. Well, roughly 2 seconds between Gustas Malakauskas and Simonas Urbanas as they will start the final lap of this championship, the bonus round. Yep,
and leaders on final lap. So white flag in the air. One more to go here tonight, and one more to go in the GT Free Team Championship for this season here on the World Sim Series platform. If you want to join any of these races, head on over to worldsimseries.com, sign up for free, and join more races coming in this season 2 of 2024. 1.9 seconds that gap, not going to be caught unless big mistakes come in from Gustas Malakauskas.
Actually, about the joining of the World Sim Series platform, this is the best time for everyone to join this championship, because it's
I thought you were going to say don't join. I was like, really?
It's the best time to join, because the second season of 2024 on World Sim Series platform, it just gives. There's a lot of championships on, a lot of prizes, even in the free series, not only in the premium ones.
Races every day.
Races every day, good sponsorship. Yep, you can
both
even
on
win set.
AC1 and ACC. So on both platforms.
Oh yeah, we are chatting about it. Just come and join it, find that out by yourselves. You can do daily races, which are totally free, and still compete for mega prizes. And if you want a little bit extra of excitement, you can join those premium championships or the special events that that are taking place on the platform. I believe the next race is the Nordschleife 24-hour race. April 27th. The next special event on the World Sim Series platform.
Wasn't that the Bathurst 6-hour?
Is it? Okay.
I think so, but Gustas Malakauskas will take the win and wins the race here tonight ahead of Simonas Urbanas, who, even with his 5-second penalty, will keep second place. And Stefanas Katkus will come through in third to take the position for Beaver Grease Racing, and it looks like the championship for Beaver Grease Racing as well, with Alex Leaf in 4th position. Stefano Scuma will finish in 5th. Miguel Silverio running for a 6th place finish in the only Audi on track. Ubaldo Marini will finish in 7th. Mary Tamash in 8th, and 9th for Justinas Gedzavicius.
Yep, that was a calm race, but still
It's
exciting.
The Bathurst 6 hour. It's the Bathurst
It is.
6
Yep.
hour. I don't know where you found.
I don't know.
I
I just imagine things, and sometimes I share them with the public. But it's gonna be the 6 hours of Bathurst race on Assetto Corsa competency on a platform. So come and join. Good moment to have not only fun but a lot of experience and learn something new, and battle for the prizes.
Yep. Or you can participate in the Nürburgring 24-hour, which I guess Lorinas is hosting on this.
I will have to host it, definitely. That's, yeah. Nürburgring 24 hours are definitely on the schedule, but later this year.
I mean, we just had a 12-hour a few months ago, so you want to do 24 hours again? Okay. Nürburgring is always fun, so sure, why not? So, April 27th, it's the Bathurst 6 hour, and Lorinas will be racing the 24 hours of Nürburgring alone, I guess. But the Bathurst 6 hour on April 27th, you can go sign up to that one already. Pre-qualifying, I believe, is open.
It is. It is open.
It is open.
You have to double check the information now after my false statement, but it's open. Yeah, the qualifying, pre-qualifying session is open, and you are still able to catch up with that action. That's it for tonight. This was the bonus and the final round of the GT3 Team Challenge Championship on the World Sim Series platform. We have seen Gustas Malakauskas dominate the race. Simonas Urbans was always trying to catch up with Gustas, but that didn't work out. Steven Skatkos finished 3rd, and by our calculations, he might have clinched the championship for the Beaver Grease Racing team, but you have to come to World Sim Series platform a little bit later to figure this information out, whether that's truth that we are telling you, or
clearly you cannot trust what Lorinas says.
Yeah, that's definitely. This is something to learn for everyone. Whatever I say, never listen to it and never take it seriously. You have to always triple check that information which is coming out of my mouth. I have a nice imagination which I definitely like to share with everyone.
That is it for this evening. Again, head on over to worldsimseries.com, sign up yourself, and participate in these races. But from us, it's a good night. Have a nice rest of your Sunday, whatever is left of it, and see you at Bathurst. Or Nürburgring.
Sorry, I'll be absent during Bathurst because I will be driving the Nordschleife, a 24-hour event that I will create for myself and hopefully enjoy.
You can do that on worldsimseries.com, by the way. You can create your own events as well. So nice segue into that. That was just a little bit of promotion that Lorinas wanted to do. So you can actually set up your own events there as well.
Yep. Have a good night and definitely have good sleep. So see you on the next premium or special event on the World Sim Series platform, and I hope we will have as much fun as we had this evening.